I'm going to show you how to make a traditional granny square, and it's not as hard as you might think. What I'm using is this Big Twist Posh yarn. It is a thicker yarn. It's a bulky, a number 5, and I'm using a 4.5 millimeter hook. Now, I prefer my hooks to be a little bit smaller than what the recommended size is because I like my projects to be a little tighter and not so loose. So that's my preference, but if you guys want to do what the manufacturer recommends, then it's recommending an 8 millimeter hook. So that would be very loose, and I don't really like that. So what I do is I just get one that I know is not going to slip off, and that's the one I pick. I'd like to mention I do have some products that I'm using in the description below, so if you're interested in purchasing some of these hooks or different yarns, looking down there and you can see the links I have. We're going to start off by making the ring, and I like to start by doing the chain method. I'm going to do a chain of 4 because this yarn is a little fluffier and could be a little bit harder to use. So you're going to chain 4, and then you're going to take your hook and put it into this first chain here and do a slip stitch. A slip stitch is just yarn over, pull through 1, and pull through again. You don't yarn over again with the slip stitch. It's just a way to connect your rounds together or to get from one spot to another. So I'm going to chain 3, and then we're going to do groupings of 3 double crochet stitches together. So the first chain here is counted as 1 double crochet stitch, and then there's a second one. I'm going to do a third one, and each time I do one I go through the center of that loop I made. So now that I have 3, I'm going to chain 3. This will be my corner of my granny square, and I'm going to put 3 more double crochet stitches into that center of the ring. Okay, so now I have 2 groupings or clusters, and I'm going to chain 3 again, and I'm going to do 2 more clusters, so I have 4 altogether. So once you're done with that, meet me back and we'll start round 2. All right, so now that I have my first round almost done, here's my corner, another corner, my third corner, and then to make my fourth corner I'm going to chain 3, and I'm going to connect it to this first chain I did here. So I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to do a slip stitch and connect that round. What I like to do when I'm at this point is I like to slip stitch over to the first chain space because it alleviates a lot of gaps that you might get by trying to connect it without doing the slip stitches. So you're going to slip stitch across in each double crochet stitch till you get to this first chain space here, and then you're going to chain 3, and again that's your first double crochet stitch, and I'm going to make another cluster of 3 into that chain space. So I have 3 double crochet stitches all together right there, and then I'm going to chain 3, and then I'm going to put 3 more double crochet stitches into that same chain space. Now remember that chain of 3 that we did here, that creates our corners. So you can see it's kind of lining up with the corners. Now once I have my 2 clusters done in that corner chain space, I'm going to chain 1 so that it allows me to reach over to the next chain space here, and I'm going to do 2 more of those clusters into the same chain space with a chain of 3 in between them. So there's 3 double crochet stitches, a chain of 3, and then 3 more double crochet stitches. Okay, so I have my 2 corners, chain 1 to get to the next one, and keep doing that until you go all the way around your round 2, and then we'll connect at the end to do round 3. All right, so now that I'm at the end, I've done all my corners. I need to connect this one to this one here. So I just chained 1, and then I'm going to go up 3 on this chain, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to connect it here with the slip stitch. Okay, perfect. So then again, I'm going to slip stitch over to the chain space, and I'm going to start round 3 with a chain of 3. So to start round 3, we're going to chain 3, and again this starts my first, this counts as my first double crochet stitch, and I'm going to do a cluster of 3 and then a chain of 3 and another cluster to make the corner. So there's that cluster of 3. I'm just going to slide this over a little bit. There we go. Chain of 3 to make the corner, and then another cluster of 3 double crochet stitches. So if you notice now on round 3 we have an extra chain space here that we have to use. So I'm going to just chain 1 to get over from one chain space to the other, and I'm going to do only 1 cluster this time in this center chain space. Okay, so I have my 3 double crochet stitches. I'm going to chain 1 again, and then I'm going to do my corner clusters again. Okay, so there's one. I'm going to chain 3, and then I'm going to do my second cluster here in the corner. Chain 1 to get over to the center chain space here, and do your next cluster of 3 double crochet stitches. Oops. Chain 1 to get over to the next chain space, and do your cluster of 3 double crochet stitches again. And because this is a corner, you're going to want to do your chain of 3. And in the same chain space, just slide it over so you have some room. You want to put 3 more double crochet stitches. Okay, so continue around till you get to the end of round 3, and then we'll start round 4. Okay, so now that we're done, I'm going to connect this one to this one here with one single chain, and then I'm going to do a slip stitch just like that. So you could leave it like this if you want, or you can continue to do more rounds. And just remember the same pattern. You want to make sure that you have 2 clusters and a chain of 3 in your corners, and then 1 cluster in each additional chain space. And it makes your granny square bigger. So I'm going to continue, and I'm going to do 2 more rounds, and then we'll meet back here again so I can show you what it looks like. So I stopped at 5 rows, and this is how it looks. And you can see it's 5 rows by counting the clusters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 5 rounds. Sorry, not rows, rounds. So now I have my granny square, and it is a little bit curled at the ends, but I'm going to block it, and it will lay down flat, and then I can sew it together. But that's how you make a traditional granny square. I hope this helped you guys.